Hey, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are on your part of the globe. Welcome to Earth's #1 psychic radio network. Or you could be watching us on Earth's #1 TV psychic network, Moonstruck TV. Well, this is the Ask One radio network and the Spirit Phoenix Rising show. I'm your host, Renee, Lynn, and I don't know if you can tell, but I feel a little bit more mellow in my intro than I have with you guys in quite some time. Have you heard of tryptophan-induced food comas? These things are dangerous, guys. I don't know what I'm going to do. I literally feel like I'm going to curl up on this chair and pull up a fuzzy Afghan and just kind of listen to my amazing guest talk. And here's why. I have a guest tonight who is an amazing spiritual medium. I have a guest tonight who has assisted on several, mind you, police investigations using her skills as a psychic and as a medium to get inside the minds of victims and perpetrators and help, the authorities figure out things that otherwise would be a cold case, right? The only cold case I want to think about is tomorrow I could use like a cold case of something bubbly and a turkey sandwich, because, I'm like that. I'm going to go back for the dog that bit me. Anyway, I would like to ask you guys to help me join with a spiritual medium who's become a very dear friend of mine, Miss Sherry Dean Paris. Let's bring her on, shall we? Hey.
Oh, there we are.
Hey, happy Turkey Day to you. Now, I have to admit, guys, I talked to Sherry for a moment before we came on, and she's, had ham instead. So she's probably a lot more energized than me at this point, So you had a good Turkey Day?
Yeah, a restful Turkey Day. It's one of those days where you don't feel committed. You have to do something. I like that.
I got to tell you, for years, while the kids were young, it's like I'd be committed on that, day and be attached to my oven. But this year we did it easy. We got something that was, we half catered it and then half cooked. So I kind of felt for once that, I don't have to do anything. You're right. That's a good thing. It's a good day for naps and resting, well, I talked in the intro about the kind of work you do. Now, it's just like you're an empath, you're clairsentient, you're clairvoyant, clairaudient, claircognizance. I mean, I may as well call you Claire instead of Sherry. Can you talk a bit about your gifts with the audience? I can curl up and take a nap. Go on.
Well, I'll tell you about one time that I had with the Claires. It was my 50th birthday, and I was sitting at the computer in my bedroom, and I smelled something, and I couldn't figure it out. I thought, this smells like cigar smoke. That's what it smells like. And then I smelled coffee, and then I could smell biscuits and gravy. I instantly felt the energy of my bed with my mother and father laying on it, and they just thought they were having a good time. I let them stay for about 10 minutes. Then I told them they needed to go. Serious.
Well, so could you remember like your first Claire experience? And for our friends who are listening who might be new to the spiritual path, when we hear the words clairsentient, clairvoyant, that prefix Claire means clear, like clear seeing, clear knowledge, Yeah, can you describe the first time you met Claire?
I was farther into it before I really met Claire. And it was with a family dog, believe it or not. And I could see him, and he always was taking off and going somewhere. He'd never stay home. And I all of a sudden, it's just like a movie theater, where the films are going along. And I seen him walking into a lake. And I thought, it's too cold for this. Surely he'll make it. But he's a humongous dog.
What kind of dog was it? Do you remember?
He was half wolf, half black. Yeah.
Wow.
Big dog. Wow. And he just walked right into the lake thinking that he could cross it. And he couldn't get out. And that was just a small thing that happened, but it was big. You know what I mean? So that was really the first time, and that I was probably in my 30s then.
Mm,
I went through a thing of, you have them in the early years, and
yes.
then you have, at least for me, you have a time where you're having kids and raising them and everything, and they go off to college, and then it clicked back in for me.
I see. I
So,
see. I remember when I was a kid, I grew up not too far from Gettysburg. So constantly in my peripheral vision, all around me, there were people from the 1800s, people that looked like, that looked like, Union and Confederate soldiers. There were people that looked like nurses. There were people from all walks of life walking around me from the afterlife, and as you get older, of course, you're told, oh, these things aren't real. This is your imagination. But it's like, yeah, spirit was around me at an early age, and then, other things occur, and you're right. You've got, maybe kids to raise and other things like that. And you kind of, I guess, hit the off switch for a bit, or maybe it's almost like a pipe, how you have to keep that nozzle, turned in line or open it, Do you think it's
mhm.
the same kind of thing? It's always there, but we turn it off or on.
I've never turned it off or on. It just seemed like maybe I told them in my mind to off,
Mm,
but it just seemed like it knew when to do it. When I was, when it was, I don't know if you can say convenient or not, but when it was time that I could deal with it,
mm.
then it was on.
So do you
So,
think one of the hardest things for somebody who is, empathic or has spiritual gifts, and I really believe we all do, it's a matter of, practice and amplification. But do you think the hardest thing, Sherry, is learning how to control and have boundaries, especially when you're a medium like yourself?
oh yeah, it really is. Um, I've had parents contact me and want me to talk to their children because they had they had things coming through to them and they didn't know how to receive them, whether to crawl under their bed and shut the door, or how to exactly accept them and talk to them. And it's hard when you don't have parents that are doing that, that are doing the same thing what we do.
Sure, sure, sure. I think too, it's like probably interesting when you're born into a multi-generational family
Hmm.
that is comfortable with their gifts and use their gifts. Whereas, like, if you're maybe in a situation where you've got really conservative or, religious parents that might think these things are dark, and it's just like, wow, we see
Hmm.
the gift of prophecy everywhere in our Bible, right? It's nothing
Hmm.
to shame
Yes.
people for, you know.
Hmm.
You know.
Hmm.
So tell me about, now I know you worked on cases, but we never really got to get into it. Now, were these in the same area or two different police forces?
Hmm.
Like, well, tell me about the first one. How did you get involved? Where was this?
Well, the first one was in Indiana. Um, the young girl, I'm thinking she was maybe 19. She'd went out drinking with some friends. The cameras on the building seen her walking back to her college dorm and seen that she was inebriated. And they walked back and seen that the pickup picked her up. And from that point, that's when I opened my map on my laptop and kind of hone in with pendulum. And I turned the laptop to where the map was on the bottom,
Oh,
make the
wow.
keys stand up that way. And I could follow with my pendulum where they took her.
Oh, what an
And
interesting way to use the pendulum. That's amazing.
yeah, yeah. And it just blew me away. And, all the time you're hearing, um, what they're doing and, can I say what really happened?
Well,
I
don't
didn't say
use
the
don't
name.
use their real names. I wouldn't use
Oh
their
no,
real
no,
names. But if
I can't
you could give
remember
us a
their names.
synopsis. Yeah.
Well, she was involved with the boys that she went with,
Hmm.
and they left her body at the edge of a lake, and then the lake rose, from the water rain,
Oh my
and
goodness.
they never found her, which is
Oh,
horrible.
oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So through your spiritual guides, you were able to like use your tool, your pendulum, and
Hmm.
your senses to retrace a path. And then
Hmm.
so then were you working with one investigator on the team, or was it several that you were working with? How did
Well,
that?
I was just trying to get in at that point. I was just trying to get into the police department for them to talk with me.
Oh, so
And
you did this unsolicited.
mhm.
Oh my
Yeah, and you
goodness,
got
how
to be really
proactive.
careful.
Yeah.
You got to be
Wow.
really careful because they could come in and say, "Well, if you know where to go find her, then you were
They
with
think
her,
you're
weren't you?"
involved. Oh my goodness,
Yeah. So
what a
I
risk.
pulled away from that one. I pulled away because it um it does interrupt your thoughts. you know, it the second one was a girl in North Carolina. She was at one of the I think it's Fort Bragg, and she was involved with a guy at the bar, and apparently they got to know each other pretty well, and her husband was out of state, and that's when this one came to me. This gal came to me, and um, I was working with an investigator that was doing.
Well, wait, if I may interrupt, when you said she came
Mhm.
to you, what you were doing
Oh,
dishes
I'm
in your
sorry.
house, or what was going on?
Yeah, she wanted to make the beds, and uh, she came to me spiritually,
Right, right.
and
Just all
she
of a
sat
sudden,
down.
oh
She
boy.
just came to me because she could talk to me, and she was sitting on the floor in front of the door with her legs brought up, and her arms around her legs, rocking back and
Oh
forth.
my
And
goodness.
she'd say, "Find me, find me, find me." And I said, "Well, we're going to have to need your help in order to find you." And she told me, uh, that she, kind of go down here and around. Well, I got my pendulum out and I got the maps out, and I was talking to the investigator, and it was thankful that investigator, he believed also that there are gifts, and um, he would call me and he'd say, "Are you getting anything?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I'll call you back." And this was about 3 weeks worth of work, and it
Oh my
got to
goodness.
where at 3 weeks I pulled out because he had gotten sick and his investigating group couldn't find. And I told him, I said, "Well, this is as far as I've gotten on this. Hopefully they'll be able to hook up with it." Well, then,
Wow.
uh yeah, and she kept coming to me, and she told me about uh, the pink tennis shoes she had on, and that they buried her in a just kind of like putting leaves on top of her, and you could see her tennis shoes out of the ground.
Oh my.
And by that time, the killer had already taken her body from there and took her somewhere else. And then they were pretty shut down. They wouldn't listen to anybody. But I told the investigator where to go find her, and they found her within 10 feet of where she was finally dead,
Oh,
or
what
very
a
dead.
wow. I mean,
Uh,
what a testimony that is. What a story, Sherry. One of my
mm,
favorite TV shows that I enjoy is The Dead Files. Here's a model where you have a physical medium working with an ex-police investigator. In fact,
mhm,
in my mother life, in my other life, I actually have done some work for that show. But I just
mhm.
really, really am fascinated by this, and it's a reality show. But we see these kinds of things on different detective dramas, etc. And how beautiful is it to be able to use your gift for, as they say, using your powers for good, if you will, but
Yeah. Yeah. The investigator, he would tell me, he'd say, "Well, tell her to do this and tell her to do that so we know where she's at." And I'm like, "I can't tell her to do that. I can tell her, but that doesn't mean she's going to jump up and do it,
right.
it was something."
Oh my gosh. Oh my
So
gosh.
I just know I couldn't be involved every day with something like this. From from one file to another, and it's just a lot to do.
You know, there's so many people that are just fascinated by stories like these. And in fact, I think we have a caller. I think we have, is it Jane in Rhode Island? Let's bring her on and have her chat with us, Sherry, if you don't mind. Hey,
Sure.
are you with us?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi there. How are you?
Doing well. I've actually met the folks from the Dead Files in person.
Oh gosh, isn't that just a wonderful show? I just think Amy's amazing and Steve has got quite a presence,
Yeah, they're really cool people. We actually got to go with Steve on a physical hunt with the group, the Ghost Hunt Weekend, while we
That's
were
fascinating.
in Louisville, Kentucky.
Wow. So it's just like searching for something, whether they're living or whether they're past. Did you have any luck on this trip? Did you feel things? Did you see things, Jane? What was
actually connected with several spirits while we were at one of the local libraries there in the area.
Oh, wow. That's fascinating. Well, did you have a question for Sherry or I tonight?
Well, I was looking to see if she felt that I was on the right path with my life as it is right now.
Okay, Sherry, do you have your pendulum or are you going to work without tools on this one? How do you feel?
I think I have to work without tools because I have none with me. Want to know if she's on the right path of what she's doing, correct?
Yes, that's right, Jane, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm getting is you're not working with the right people.
Okay.
I don't know who it would be. I'm seeing men in brown uniforms, kind of like UPS wears.
No.
No,
you're saying that's
that
the dream team for her. That's where you think she belongs?
Yeah.
I see.
She'd be doing much better with them than what she's doing with whoever now.
The idea that, like, you said people in uniform, and then I just turned over a tarot card. And of course I pulled, Jane, the knights. And the knights, here, like people in uniform or somebody like under an umbrella that are on a particular type of mission. Now, does that mean, Sherry, you see her in uniform as well? Or you see her working with people who are on a team like that?
I see that she should be working with people in brown uniform. I think it's a group. I don't know who. But she'd have a better chance at advancing herself with them.
Now, Jane, are you looking to, make a jump? Have you been thinking about making a jump, or did you just recently make one and you're concerned that it's the right one?
Well, I have been working with the school system for several years now as a teaching assistant, which I love what I do and who I work with, but I've also recently worked with a very good friend who is a Brown University graduate.
Brown University, isn't that interesting? I'll take that. Oh my. And also when you get involved in private education. Oh, pardon?
She's a yoga instructor.
Oh, okay.
And a retired teacher.
I was just thinking, Sherry, too, some schools have uniforms, etc. I wonder, too, if like this could be some type of student body somewhere that you're tapping into. Maybe it's another education job. I mean, sometimes these pictures are such broad brushstrokes, and other times they're fine little paintings.
Well, I took her question different. I thought she was questioning who should she look towards working with that would advance her more.
Mm.
And that's when I seen people in brown clothing, brown uniforms. That's how I seen that as.
I see. I see. Oh,
that's the thing when you get involved with people that live 2,000 miles away. Sometimes we can grab that, but there's a lot of energies between here and there.
Oh, this is true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Jane. Did you have anything else you wanted to check into before we scoot?
No, I think that pretty much kind of gave me the answer I was looking for, that we're going in the right direction with what KSC wants to go with in the future.
Right on. Well, I'm excited to hear too that I just happened, I love the synchronicity of mentioning, dead files, etc., and the fact that you had a personal experience with the group. And, here we have Sherry on with us who actually has done a bit of this in real life. I find it fascinating, Well, thank you so much for calling in, though.
I'm a very spiritual person, and I have actually done several spirit-related events, so I gravitate toward seeing what others see in me.
Yeah, you know what I always say, I have my gifts, but I like to go to someone else who has theirs to share, because we all have these little blind spots, and sometimes it's helpful to have someone else hold up the mirror, essentially, for us. Hold up the mirror, the reflection. Well, thank you so much, Jane. I appreciate you calling. Have a good turkey day, what's left of it. Oh, have a good night. Have a good night. Wow. So, Sherry, I got to tell you, when you started to talk about this, were you saying about cigar smoke, etc., I get the smells a lot. I know when my mother-in-law is around, I get her perfume. I know when my mom is around, I get her cigarette smoke.
Goosebumps.
I know, it's just like, gosh, can we tell that's the 70s? But is it all? Does the information always come in the same way for you? Does it start with smell and then expand, or is it different? Like when that gal popped up rocking back and forth, you didn't have any sense, but you had sense.
Mm-hmm. It's all different for me. It's all different. Mm-hmm. I don't have any one thing that's going to be what's going to happen. I just know the girl that was rocking, and it was so intense on her wanting to be found that, it's like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. And I kept at it, but I took a long vacation afterwards.
It can be draining a bit, right? Because, it takes them a great deal of, I guess, effort and whatnot to be able to find our energy and, conduct that and use that and be able to make connection from the other side. I mean, that can't be an easy feat. It sounds like it takes quite a bit. And with all the paranormal experiences that I've had, it's just like, yeah, the idea of a drained battery from a camera or a drained battery inside ourselves. It's just like we need to recharge afterwards, right? Right. Yeah. So are you going to do a little recharging this weekend before you get any clients and customers? You've got to. Well, you ate the hand.
Yeah, probably. I'm real good at recharging on the couch.
Right on. Well, I just want to recap again. It's like you do spirit communication, you do animal communication, all sorts of things. People can find you most easily on your Facebook page, right? Sherry Dean Paris on Facebook. They can just look you up there and find you, message you if they want to have a chat further.
Let's not forget, I do energy healing also with Quantum Touch.
Right on. Quantum Touch healing.
Whole different subject.
You and I should get in the habit of having these talks because we have parallels. Like I do the Reiki, you do the Quantum Touch. They're both different ways for us to harness energy from somewhere else and direct it
Yeah.
in a healing manner, right?
Mhm.
I love that. Yeah. So, like I said, animal communication, spirit communication. We're
Yeah.
both ladies of many disciplines, and some of ours overlap.
Absolutely.
You've got some here, I've got some there, but working together, I think, is an interesting thing like this. We should have more talks. But anyway, guys, my producer's letting me know we're coming to the end of the show. And Sherry, we'll have to talk again sometime. As I said, I want to thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for
the
coming.
invitation.
You know what?
Anytime.
Thanks for coming to my socially distanced Thanksgiving show. You're in Indiana, I'm in California. We are federally approved.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, love. Well, you take care. And everyone out there who's watching on Moonstruck TV or listening on the Ask One Radio Psychic Network. Oh, gosh. I can't get through a show, Sherry, where I don't do that. Can I tell you? Network. And I just want to say thanks for coming by. I'm Renee Lynn. You can find me at reneelynnspirit.com. I'll check you out next week. Happy Turkey Day and enjoy the holiday season, guys. Take care. Good night.
Bye.